One ordinary morning, you button your shirt and feel it. The fabric is tighter, your breath a little shorter. The numbers from your last checkup echo in your mind. Blood pressure up, blood sugar borderline, waistline growing. It feels like it happened overnight, but deep down you know it did not. What if it was not one big mistake, but 1,000 tiny mindless bites that quietly pushed you toward metabolic syndrome? Brian Wansink, the author of Mindless Eating, spent decades in food labs asking a radical question. What if your willpower is not the main problem? He discovered that lighting, plate size, music, even the shape of a glass can secretly steer every bite. Like a puppeteer hidden behind the curtain, your environment tugs at the strings of your appetite, especially dangerous for anyone facing metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is not a single disease but a cluster of risks: high blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, unhealthy fats, and extra fat around the waist. Together, they quietly strain your heart and blood vessels. Research shows that just a few hundred extra calories a day over time can tip the balance. But those extra calories rarely come from hunger. They come from mindless eating. For medical diagnosis or treatment, please consult your physician. You may have told yourself, if only I had more discipline, I could fix this. But Wansink's research says otherwise. People who seem naturally slim are not always stronger. Their environment simply helped them eat less without thinking. Imagine lowering your blood sugar and waistline, not by constant struggle, but by rearranging your kitchen. The battlefield is not your character. It is your surroundings. In one famous experiment, Wansink used soup bowls, secretly connected to a tube that refilled them from below. People with these bottomless bowls ate 73% more soup, yet insisted they felt no more full than others. Our eyes, not our stomachs, decided when to stop. If a hidden tube can fool us, imagine what endless snack refills and giant restaurant portions do to our blood sugar day after day. Your stomach sends fullness signals to your brain with hormones and nerve pathways, but these signals are slow and subtle. Your eyes, however, give instant judgments. My plate is empty. I must be done. The brain often treats the empty plate as proof of satiety, even when the body has more than enough. For someone battling high triglycerides or insulin resistance, this visual deception can quietly push every meal over the edge. Another of Wansink's discoveries is deceptively simple. Large plates make portions look smaller. When people used bigger plates, they served themselves up to 31% more food without realizing it. Shrinking your plate is like switching to a smaller bucket when bailing water from a leaking boat. Each scoop is naturally less. For metabolic health, this small visual trick can quietly cut hundreds of calories a day. Walk into your kitchen. What greets your eyes first? Cookies on the counter or a bowl of fruit? Wansink found that people who kept visible snacks on their counters weighed significantly more than those who kept them out of sight. Your kitchen constantly negotiates with your appetite. When sweets and salty snacks are always in your field of vision, you are silently agreeing to higher blood pressure, weight, and risk. Now imagine your office, a candy jar on the reception desk, the smell of pastries in the break room, vending machines glowing late at night. In one study, when chocolates were placed on desks instead of 2 meters away, people ate over 40% more. The shorter the distance, the weaker our resistance. For a body struggling with high blood sugar and belly fat, every reachable snack becomes a tiny shove in the wrong direction. If you have felt ashamed for failing diets, pause here. Wansink's findings show that most people, regardless of education or intelligence, underestimate how much they eat when the environment encourages overeating. It is like trying to stay dry in a room where the sprinklers are on. For anyone facing metabolic syndrome, the goal is not to become superhuman, but to turn off as many sprinklers as possible. Mindless eating happens when we eat on autopilot, while scrolling, driving, or working, guided by habit and surroundings. Mindful eating is the opposite, noticing flavors, textures, and your body's signals. You do not need to be perfectly mindful. Even shifting part of your day from mindless to mindful can reduce calorie intake and help stabilize blood sugar and blood pressure. The tipping point is smaller than you think. Picture this common scene. After dinner, you finally sit down. A show plays. Stress from the day hums in the background. Your hand reaches into a snack bag again and again. You barely taste it. In Wansink's studies, People distracted by TV ate up to 45% more. Over months, that harmless-looking habit can thicken your waist and disturb your blood sugar through the night. Wansink also revealed the health halo effect. When a food is labeled low-fat or healthy, people often eat more of it and underestimate its calories. In one study, those given low-fat snacks ate up to 50% more than those given regular ones. For metabolic syndrome, where every gram of sugar and fat matters, a health halo can be as dangerous as outright junk food. Liquid calories, sweetened coffees, juices, soft drinks are another invisible culprit Wansink highlights. Our brains do not register drinks as filling the way they do solid food, so we keep eating on top. For someone with high fasting glucose or borderline diabetes, these sweet sips can push blood sugar spikes higher and keep triglycerides elevated, yet they slip into the day like background noise. Over the past decades, restaurant portions have quietly grown. What used to be enough for 2 people is often served as a single meal. Wansink's observations show that most diners clean their plates, regardless of portion size, because we see it as the right amount. For a body already under pressure from metabolic syndrome, routinely finishing these oversized meals is like adding weight to a bridge with tiny cracks. In buffet studies, Wansink tracked how people served themselves. Those who walked the entire line first and used smaller plates ate less and chose more vegetables. Those who started at the first dish and used large plates piled on more starches and fried foods. For anyone with metabolic syndrome, a buffet is not just many choices. It is many chances to overload blood sugar and fats in a single sitting. Surprisingly, much of our pleasure from food comes from the first few bites. After that, the enjoyment curve flattens, but we keep eating out of habit or politeness. Wansink's work suggests that consciously savoring the first 3 bites can satisfy psychological cravings with less total food. For metabolic health, this means you can still enjoy favorite treats, just in smaller, fully appreciated portions. One of Wansink's practical rules is the 20% buffer. People generally do not notice if you reduce your portion by about 20%. Cut more than that, and you feel deprived. Cut less, and it barely matters. For someone aiming to ease blood pressure and blood sugar down, trimming 20% off meals and snacks is like quietly loosening a belt around your metabolism without feeling constantly hungry. Many diets feel like jumping off a cliff. Total restriction, intense rules, and then a crash. Wansink encourages a gentler approach. Instead of all or nothing, aim for slightly better. Use smaller plates, move snacks out of sight, serve vegetables first. These small nudges accumulate like interest in a savings account, slowly lowering your waistline and easing metabolic strain over months, not days. Wansink calls the idea of shaping your surroundings a slim by design strategy. Imagine opening your fridge and seeing washed vegetables at eye level, while sugary drinks hide on the bottom shelf. Picture a counter with a water pitcher instead of a cookie jar. You are not depending on willpower at 10 p.m. You are pre-deciding during a calm moment what your future self will reach for. Wansink jokes about the seafood effect. We eat what we see. In studies, people kept candy in clear jars on their desks, ate much more than those who kept it in opaque containers or in a drawer. For someone monitoring their waist and triglycerides, this means your first line of defense is not willpower. It is opacity and distance. Out of sight truly becomes out of stomach. A simple plate strategy Wansink's work supports is visual balance. Fill half your plate with vegetables, a quarter with lean protein, and a quarter with whole grains or starch. This naturally displaces energy-dense, high-sugar, high-fat foods that challenge metabolic health. The plate becomes a quiet coach, guiding your hand without harsh rules or calorie counting at every meal. In home studies, Wansink noticed people ate more when serving dishes stayed on the table. Each glance invited another spoonful. When food was served from the kitchen and leftovers put away right after plating, people ate less without feeling deprived. For metabolic syndrome, making seconds less convenient helps your hormones and bloodstream keep up instead of being overwhelmed. Even plate color matters. Wansink found that when the color of the food closely matched the plate, people served themselves more, because they could not visually judge the portion. Using a plate that contrasts with your main food, white rice on a dark plate, for example, helps your eyes see the true amount. Clearer vision means fewer invisible calories pressing on your blood sugar and waistline. Our stomach needs about 20 minutes to signal fullness to the brain. Wansink's observations showed that fast eaters consume more before those signals arrive. Using smaller utensils, putting the fork down between bites, or drinking water during meals gently slows you. For metabolic syndrome, this time delay is precious. It allows your insulin and appetite hormones to catch up, preventing overeating and sugar spikes. Wansink observed that when people decided what to eat before they were hungry, they chose smaller portions and healthier options. Hunger shrinks our planning brain and amplifies our cravings. By pre-planning snacks and meals, even roughly, you create a script your body can follow instead of improvising in front of a vending machine. Your future blood pressure and glucose reflect today's small decisions. Mindless eating often hides behind emotions: stress, loneliness, boredom. Wansink encourages people to notice and name their triggers. I snack when I'm anxious before bed, or I eat sweets when work feels meaningless. Naming the pattern is like turning on a light in a dark room. Once you see the link, you can choose a different response that does not sabotage your metabolic health. Imagine rewriting your evening. Instead of mindlessly eating in front of a screen, you pour a herbal tea, slice an apple, and sit in a quiet corner with a book. Wansink's principles help here too. By preparing a small planned snack and changing location, you break the automatic chain between TV and overeating. Your blood vessels and pancreas experience this as a deep, silent relief. We rarely eat alone. Wansink found that we mirror the habits of people around us. When friends order large portions or keep eating, we tend to join in, even when we are full. For someone managing metabolic risks, this does not mean avoiding loved ones. It means quietly setting your own rules, sharing dishes, asking for a to-go box early, or simply eating more slowly while still enjoying the company. At this point, you may wonder, can such tiny changes really matter for something as serious as metabolic syndrome? In Wansink's studies, people who adjusted just 1 or 2 environmental cues lost weight over months without strict diets. How does one smaller plate, one moved candy jar, or one adjusted evening ritual show up in your blood tests? Let us follow the numbers together. Imagine 4 weeks after your first changes. You have swapped to smaller plates, moved snacks, and slowed dinner. The scale shows only a tiny shift, perhaps 1 kilogram. It is easy to feel discouraged, but inside, your body is already experimenting with a new balance. Slightly smaller glucose spikes after meals, a bit less pressure on vessel walls. Lab tests may not yet shout the difference, but at the cellular level, a quiet negotiation has begun. By 3 months, you notice something your doctor's chart might miss. Your belt buckles 1 hole tighter, jeans slide on with less resistance. Wansink observed that gradual environmental shifts often show up first in clothing fit and energy levels, not dramatic weight drops. For metabolic syndrome, even a 5 to 10% weight loss can significantly improve blood pressure, lipids, and glucose. Always discuss targets with your physician. As you reduce late-night mindless eating, you may fall asleep more easily and wake feeling slightly lighter. High sugar, high fat snacks near bedtime can disturb sleep quality and maintain higher blood sugar overnight. Wansink's principles do not replace medical treatment, but by nudging evening habits, you give your body a calmer night to repair blood vessels, process fats, and balance hormones. Wansink often studied shopping carts to predict eating habits. When carts were filled mostly with packaged snacks and sugary drinks, home environments supported mindless overeating. When carts held vegetables, beans, lean proteins, and whole grains, homes made better choices easier. Before you reach the register, pause and scan your cart. Is it designed for your current cravings or your future laboratory results? Wansink's work suggests that simple, repeatable rules beat complicated tracking. Instead of counting every calorie, you might check just 3 things on labels: serving size, added sugars, and total calories. If a snack is small but dense in sugar and calories, it is like pouring syrup directly into your bloodstream. For metabolic syndrome, your aim is not perfection, but gradually choosing foods that calm rather than excite your blood chemistry. Think of your home as your personal food lab, just like Wansink's. Instead of formal experiments, you try small changes for 2 weeks. A smaller bowl, a different snack shelf, a no food in front of TV rule. You observe how hungry you feel, how your clothes fit, how your energy shifts. There is no failure, only feedback. For any significant health decisions, especially with metabolic syndrome, please coordinate with your physician. Wansink teaches that humans follow defaults, the option that is easiest, most visible, or already prepared. If cut vegetables and nuts are prepped at eye level, while cookies are hidden, your default snack changes without a daily fight. Over months, these default choices can quietly lower average calorie intake and support better control of blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol. Cravings are not moral failures. They are signals. Sometimes they point to stress, sometimes to habit, sometimes to real hunger. Wansink's approach invites curiosity. When a craving hits, you might first drink water, wait 10 minutes, or eat a small portion on a plate instead of from the bag. This breaks the spell of mindlessness and prevents a momentary urge from becoming a metabolic setback. When eating out, Wansink-inspired strategies can protect your metabolism. Ask for a half portion, request sauce on the side, or split a main dish with a friend. Start with a salad or broth-based soup, so you arrive at the main course less ravenous. You are not depriving yourself. You are quietly rewriting a script that once led to oversized portions and overworked arteries. Wansink's observations suggest that skipping breakfast can lead to larger, more chaotic meals later in the day. For people with metabolic syndrome, long fasting followed by huge meals may create sharper blood sugar swings. A modest, balanced breakfast, protein, fiber, and healthy fats, can set a calmer rhythm, reducing the urge to mindlessly graze through the morning and afternoon. Wansink found that people who stored leftovers and treats in transparent containers ate more of them. Your eyes keep sending invitations. Using opaque containers, smaller plates, and designated out-of-sight zones at home and work allows you to protect your metabolic health without constant internal debate. You simply see fewer cues, and therefore face fewer battles. Mindless eating numbs our senses. Mindful eating awakens them. Wansink's work hints that savoring food with sight, smell, touch, sound, and taste slows us down and increases satisfaction. Try noticing the colors on your plate, the aroma before you bite, the texture as you chew. When meals become experiences instead of refueling stops, smaller portions begin to feel complete. Many comfort foods come from childhood: noodles after a tough day, sweets after success. Wansink notes that these memories drive present cravings. You do not need to erase them, you can gently update them. Pair memories with healthier versions, soup with more vegetables, smaller dessert portions shared with someone you love. Your brain keeps the comfort while your body receives less metabolic stress. Holidays and celebrations can feel like metabolic minefields. Wansink suggests simple anchors. Use a smaller plate, start with vegetables and protein, sit away from the snack table, and consciously enjoy a few favorite treats, instead of sampling everything. You preserve tradition and joy while protecting your blood pressure, glucose, and lipids from the strain of all or nothing feasting. There will be days when you overeat. Instead of harsh judgment, Wansink would ask, what cues led you there? Too little sleep, skipped meals, stressful meetings, snacks within arm's reach. Treat each slip like data, not a disaster. For metabolic syndrome, consistency over months matters more than any single day. Always consult your physician about any major dietary changes or concerns. While mindless eating focuses on food, movement interacts closely with appetite and metabolism. Light, regular activity, walking after meals, taking stairs, can improve insulin sensitivity and help manage blood pressure and lipids. Moving more also breaks patterns like snacking out of boredom. Any exercise plan should be tailored with your physician, especially if you have metabolic syndrome or heart concerns. Changing your environment often means involving family. Instead of lecturing, you can invite, let us try smaller plates for a month, or let us keep fruit on the table instead of cookies. Wansink's research shows that when the whole household shifts, new habits stick more easily. Your journey away from metabolic syndrome can become a shared project of care, not a lonely struggle. Scales can lie by focusing only on weight. For metabolic health, other measures tell a deeper story: waist circumference, fasting glucose, blood pressure, triglycerides, HDL cholesterol. Wansink's small environmental nudges may slowly improve all of these without dramatic daily weight changes. Regular checkups with your physician help translate your new habits into real, trackable progress. The true gift of mindless eating is this shift. Instead of fighting your appetite at every meal, you design a life where the easiest path is also the healthiest. For metabolic syndrome, this means your kitchen, office, and routines become allies. You no longer wage war against yourself. You arrange the pieces of your day so that less sugar, less fat, and fewer calories happen almost by accident. As we close, ask yourself, what is one small, specific change you can make today? A smaller plate? Moving snacks out of sight? Planning tomorrow's lunch? Write it down and give it 2 weeks, like a personal experiment inspired by mindless eating. For personalized advice about metabolic syndrome, please consult your physician. If this video supported you, please subscribe, like, and share it, and begin redesigning your eating environment, starting with your very next meal.